Then board committee saw that the malnutrition rates are pretty high wherever we are operating. And that's a global phenomenon. It's one of the major HDI indices to judge one country or state how developed this country or state is. Then board decided to do something on malnutrition. When we sensitize, people start demanding. When they start demanding, we try to fill the gap by bringing best of the supplies from the government.
Today we have with us Mr. Pratyush Kumar Panda, VP and Head CSR at ACC Limited. Ms. Panda is a CSR and impact investment professional with 25 years of experience. He has done his Masters in Sociology and his MBA in Rural Management from XIM Bhubaneswar. Presently, he is working as Vice President and Head CSR at ACC and is based out of Bombay, serving about 1 million lives every year. In light of the COVID pandemic, he has extensively worked with migrant workers by provisioning food, arranging transport, organizing study on migrants, and also helping migrants obtain job opportunities. He is a member of multiple committees of CII, Bombay Chambers of Commerce, and IMC in Mumbai. Pleasure to have you join us, sir.
Thank you.
So, sir, before we begin, we would just like to understand a little bit about your professional background and how you got started with CSR.
So I must tell you, I was trying to get through CAT into XIMB, and coming out from a small town boy, it was very difficult to access any kind of coaching those days, and that too in a state like Odisha. And I could not score better. So, I was not in part of the regular marketing and all those things. So by that time, Father Bogart was there. He requested me, would you like to join our rural management? We see your psychometric test is pretty good, and it will be very palatable to the rural management sector, rural development sector. Initially, I said no, and then when I came back, my father was with Birla Group for quite a long time. He retired from there. He said, "Why you said no? Go and try to see. If you don't like, you can come back home anytime after joining also." Then I went back again and sat for the Viva GD and Viva round. GD for that batch I scored highest, and in totality I scored second highest. And when during Viva he asked me, "Tell me, Pratyush, something about NGOs in your sector." I said, "What's that?" So I started from there. Right. And even when I started working, learning for this sector, I was not even aware of the abbreviation called NGOs. So that was from where I started. And by the time I started learning, and it was right that Father Bogas was right. My sentiments, my empathies, and my work style was had gone very handy with the development agent sector. And I gracefully accepted a care assignment from passing out from the campus and served Care India for 10 donkey years, and got huge exposure globally in India and different parts of India, working with the best of the NGOs, funding them, working closely with them with different disasters, malnutrition project, livelihood project, girls primary education project kind of things, and grown up with that. And by the time I was part of the, if you remember in 2004, there was 11 tribal died in Kalinganagar because of a Tata project coming out there, Tata Steel. And unfortunately, government nominated me as one of the nominee on behalf of civil society to part of the fact-finding team. And there was planning commission was there, and we were supposed to give a presentation to them. While giving presentation, I came across tycoons of corporate world. Right. And all of a sudden, I was offered a couple of jobs then and there. I was not in a position to take yes, and by typically blaming corporates, these are polluting agencies, these are XYZ, violating human rights and all those. So one of my colleagues from government said, people like you, if you don't go and clean all those things when somebody is trying to do a good job, we'll go and do. And sitting away, you cannot blame
Right.
corporate world as such. That motivated me to take up this challenge. And for last 13, almost 14 years, I'm into pure CSR sustainability kind of activity. Has worked for Vedanta, and now 10 years with AC, and enjoying, cherishing. And now at the same time, last 5 years, I'm deep into impact investment as a sector, also investing and also nurturing investor for the sector, bridging gap between social startups and the impact investors. Being in Bombay, that's give a good space to bridge the gap from the both end. And when both end depends on a trustworthy person, it's much easier to get it done. So that's one another personal work I'm doing in addition to my regular job and all those things without any cost and all those involved with this.
Right.
And this is how my entire career goes from a small town called, if you know that Sambalpur in Orissa, to Bangalore, Bhubaneswar, Delhi, JNU, XMB, Hyderabad, Bombay now. So almost last 6 years in Bombay, operating out of Bombay.
Right. That's a wonderful journey, sir, from where you started and where you are now. And it's really inspiring to see, sir, how far you've come. So let's talk a little bit about your time at ACC and your association with them. Tell us a little bit about why health and nutrition is an important thematic area that ACC decided to focus on with its CSR initiatives.
So if you know about ACC, ACC is always a very board driven corporate. Probably ACC started with the merger of 8-9 cement companies in India pre-independence 1936. On record, probably this is the first merger globally recognized. Initially, ACC started with a 5-year plan, first 5-year plan of Government of India. And ACC, they used to call CD plan, Community Development Plan. Every 5 years, ACC CD plan is to change with respect to change in the first 5-year plan, then change in second 5-year plan, then third 5-year plan. Right. And somewhere during 90s is turned into RD department, from CD department to RD. And 2002, it changed into CSR as a department. And even if CSR was not a buzzword in 2002. Right. And 2013, when the bill was passed from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and went to Lok Sabha, right, knowing that tomorrow or after a couple of years will come out, 2013, our board formed a ACC board committee on CSR, even if the rule was yet to publish, almost 1.5 years before that. Right. And from that day till date, our board committee on CSR are always chaired by an independent director, even if it's not mandatory. There are 3 independent directors. One of them is a lady independent director as well. And then each meeting is not just a review meeting. It's also a churning and a debate on what we should do and what we should not, based on some logical background to it. And every 3 years at ACC, we do our need assessment studies for all the villages we work as a third party. Mm-hmm. So we brought out all those findings to the board committee on CSR meeting. And that board committee saw that the malnutrition rates are pretty high wherever we are operating. Mm-hmm. And that's a global phenomenon. It's one of the major SDI indices to judge one country or state how developed this country or state is. Then board decided to do something on malnutrition. And then we started this as a direct relation to need assessment study. In the board directives, we started working. Except for Himachal, we decided to work in the rest of the 10 states within roughly 300 Anganwadi sectors by signing agreements with the local ICDS and some of the local NGOs. It's a PPP mode at Anganwadi centers being center of excellence for us. So current year, in an average 2 to 3 Anganwadi centers were developed into model centers. Model centers mean not just with respect to infra. It is more with respect to software part of it. It means malnutrition reductions, growth monitoring, immunizations, supplementary nutrition, locally designed supplementary nutrition, and the referral services also. And with that, we started working. We are monitoring during the COVID time also when Anganwadi centers were closed. The services were not closed. With proper COVID guidelines, the growth monitoring was done house to house. It took a lot of our time, but instead of getting all child into Anganwadi center, get it done in 2 hours, our team has gone along with Anganwadi workers to home to hand, taken growth monitoring during all through 9 months. Same for immunizations, and that report created and submitted to government. And to children who have got those were put under SAM category, severe and acute malnourished category, has been referred twice because we are there. One way to government medical officers. And in addition to that, every location we have our own hospitals. ACC has a trust has own hospitals,
Right.
and we have sent these kids along with mothers to our own doctors for dual referrals and better services.
Right.
And this is how we have worked very closely with them, and the project came out running very nicely with a monthly monitoring system along with government administrations and some of the local NGOs, those who are helping us with respect to behavioral change communications, creating demand in the community, and ensuring supplies through government supply systems.
Right.
So we follow out the projects going on with roughly 300 Anganwadi sectors in 10 states where we operate.
All right, so that's wonderful to hear. And within your program, sir, we just want to understand a little bit more in detail about who are the stakeholders you are targeting and what sort of a model or issues are you focusing on through your nutrition interventions.
So in nutrition, if you know that we also have an institution called Community Advisory Panel.
Okay.
So at all our CSR locations, we create this CAP team. So this CAP comes with two stakeholder from each category. Say 2 women, 2 parents of malnourished children, 2 of the Anganwadi center, Anganwadi workers, 2 of the elected local representatives, 2 of the local government officers like CTPOs, supervisors, medical officers, and then this team of CAP consists. And they sits every quarter to review the issues concerned of that area.
Okay.
So this is how a very scientifically designed institution that has been created, and they sits together, reviews what we have done in the last quarter, and they see what's supposed to be done in the next quarter, and then they suggest what best can be done to get the best of the impact. So for us in malnutrition projects, our stakeholders are with government, with the local NGOs, and we have also brought a mild right-based approach to our program.
Okay.
Why I'm saying mild right-based approach, it's not we are saying world upside down overnight. We're saying if there's a issues, it's not only government supplies will work. The demand in the community also need to grow up. And malnutrition is such an intangible sector. Demand for Indian community in rural India is hardly felt. People talks about road, people talks about street light, water supplies, school building, Anganwadi center building, but they will never talk about growth monitoring. They will never talk about complete immunization by 1 year of age. They will never talk about vaccination or any deworming every 6 months, all the kind. To bring that in the top priority, we need to sensitize the community in a way that they prioritize this as compared to others. When you talk to them कि आपकी अगली पीढ़ी कैसी होगी, कि अगली पीढ़ी कैसी होगी, तो बच्चे ऐसे कहते हैं. So then they used to relate because people relate to their next generation in a way. If you tell them कि आपकी अगली पीढ़ी आपकी आयु से छोटी होनी चाहिए या बड़ी होनी चाहिए.
Right.
And then male, female child, why we should not discriminate and how we should go ahead. So in that perspective, when we sensitize, people start demanding. When they start demanding, we try to fill the gap by bringing best of the supplies from the government. So government has their own supply system of vaccination, growth monitoring, supplementary nutrition, IEC, home visits, pre-school programming. But if there is no demand, these supplies are not utilized optimally. So we're trying to increase with a mild right-based approach to the community by taking help of the locally available small and medium scale NGOs, and then feeling that when the demand creates, then supplies comes through our partnership with the local state government and government of India, the Poshan Abhiyan and all those things. And earlier they used to hide SAM category children. So now we are giving the Anganwadi worker a hope that if you don't hide and so accurate data, so we started giving reward and recognition not only based on the best Anganwadi centers with respect to no malnutrition. Also with respect to most accurate and 100% data provision.
Right.
And when you reward with respect to their quality of data, people start showing accurate data.
Right.
And how that is judged, a team of ICDS and SEC Trust goes down to village, verify with respect to the data submitted by the Anganwadi workers. So
Right.
most accurate data are being rewarded during 26 Jan and 15 August. When you do that, the best, they don't forge, they try to show the accurate data. And when you know that accurate data is coming, you know the exact number of SAM children, the mothers, those who are on high risk, both at pregnant lady and a lactating mother. And then when you have that best of the known person and the data is available on your end, it's very accurate and precise to reach out to those households specifically and try to see that how this malnutrition can be eradicated. Same way doing it, adolescent girls by creating their clubs, and these adolescent girls are pretty agile with respect to growth monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
So we have also given weighing scales to our adolescent girls club.
Okay.
What they do random check. They don't report to ICDS, but they do random check on doubtful cases. If they found that this boy or girl is showing normal, but practically he or she is malnourished, then they report to our SEC Trust officers, and then again they go do a direct check in presence of Anganwadi centers.
Right.
So this is how we have developed that reporting has to be more accurate without hiding, so that accuracy of the services can be reached out to the each corners. It means reaching the outreach.
Right. I think so you've been able to highlight some very, very unique things about the model. I think the first thing being this multi-stakeholder perspective that you are getting, and the second thing being the community uptake. Because at the end of the day, we want to sensitize the community to the issue so that eventually they can take leadership of this and run these programs. So those are two very important points, and I must say very unique things about ACC's approach to nutrition. So that's really something.
One more addition also.
Yes, sir.
When ANM is coming and doing immunization for the kids, when she is going out, our local SHG women in that village, what they're doing, they're creating a list and giving it to the ANM. Okay. What is the list? List is called LODO, left out and drop out. Anybody, a child who has left out this time for vaccination because of non-availability of the kid, or non-availability of the vaccine. Suppose BCG one vial comes with 5 doses or 10 doses. If there are 12 children, 10 will get, 2 will not get this one.
Right.
So these 2 are left out. Or if they have brought 10 doses and there are 8 got and 2 doesn't because of non-availability kids, they are the dropouts. So this list for each vaccine is created in handwritten document given to Anganwadi worker, and they used to say कि आंगनवाड़ी ANM दीदी अगली बार आप जब आओगे ये लिस्ट लेके आना इसके हिसाब से along with next month targets.
Right.
So they review the document and see who are the children will be eligible for measles next month, for BCG next month, for DPT next month, MMR next month. So that list they create and give it to. And when ANMs comes next month with the same doses, the job of our SHGs and the same village is to mobilize those kids and put them in front so that in one shot they are all vaccinated. And this is how we are catering to 98-99% of immunization across all Anganwadi centers wherever we are working.
Right.
This also a kind of small innovations, and this was brought out not by me or our team, it was by the community itself.
That's wonderful, sir. I think that's what makes it so special, that the community really feels like this is something that they are doing for their own people. And that's why they're able to recognize the need and also cater to that need in due course. Right. So, sir, we would like to, shift gears a little bit and talk about the employee engagement and involvement. As per your CSR, the employees are heavily a part of all the activities that you engage in as part of your social responsibility. So can you tell us a little bit about this model and how that works with your employees?
So at ACC, employee volunteering is a age-old practice, even much before me joining there. Only thing is we have done it more scientific in last 5-7 years.
Right.
And in a very organized year. So every year, one of them, all our employees are supposed to do any kind of social work through CSR department, SEC Trust, which is driven now these days by SEC Trust.
Right.
For any kind of social and environmental cause, in accordance with the ACC trust and on a working day, not on a holiday.
Okay.
So, and for that, we have our own system called ACC AHEAD, ACC Association for Health Education Development. And ACC AHEAD is inner circle of our employees. All our spouse comes together, and they have created this forum called ACC AHEAD. So our MD's MD's and CEO's spouse is the president of ACC AHEAD.
Okay.
And this chapter is there in across all our locations. And their only job is to do employee volunteering or work.
Right.
And this ACC AHEAD chapter of each location, along with ACC trust team, they create a calendar for their entire work for different projects on different themes. And on that specific day, it's not the spouse will go alone.
Right.
So spouse will design projects and all, they'll go out, and their husbands or their employees, they have no mind to mind it. They'll go along purely as a volunteers. They'll go and do Ramadan, nothing else. They have no right to ask any question. Yahan kyon, wahan kyon nahi, ye kyon aisa. No, they'll only go typical as a kind of social laborers, you can say, and go and do their Ramadan along with their spouse, and being facilitated by ACC Trust and ACC AHEAD jointly. Every year we do. Current year also, during entire period, it is not only limited to our malnutrition project, it is for all our 9 projects, and this year we have done this COVID project also for all our trends projects. For current year also, and how we monitor? We monitor what is the percentage of employees at different categories have joined in employee tourism, management categories, mid management, then workers, contract workers, laborers, all those levels. Second, we also monitoring each of their time with respect to number of human hours generated. Is a key indicator for us. So this year we targeted 10,000 human hours to be generated, and as on today, because we follow calendar year, Jan to December as our financial year, our all reported CSR reporting is always Jan to December. We have already crossed 25,000 plus human hours in the current year with this pandemic.
Right.
So the pandemic is not only a disaster for us, it has also turned out to be a blessing in disguise for us.
Right.
So people have participated in different forums, and within that, malnutrition, with respect to that, a lot of people are coming out.
Right.
So some of our spouses are nurses, doctors. They all are participating in malnutrition mitigation project. We used to organize them, the health camps and all. They go and do services for these kids, adolescent girls, pregnant mother, and lactating mothers also. And it's a very scientifically designed tool is there for employment volunteerism program, and people participate grossly. If some units get delayed, they write to them ki sir kab hai next events and all, and this on working days. In addition to that, their spouses are also joining because they are the organizer, ACC AHEAD.
Right.
And it's running very fabulously, very nicely across all locations. Only thing is this could have been much better if COVID lockdown would not have been there.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's a commendable program, sir, and I must say a commendable achievement for the employees to really come together. And what a beautiful community you are building with not just your own business, but with employees, with the government, with the local community members. And I think that is a great model to target not just malnutrition for that sense, but the larger Herculean social sector challenges that we are facing today. And especially at Impact for Nutrition, sir, we really look as employee engagement and volunteering as being key enablers in driving change and supporting the overall ethos of the Poshan Abhiyan, which is to collaborate and come together to make this a true Jan Andolan.
And one must addition, I must tell you, when you send your employee volunteering on this kind of project, which are relatively scientific, don't send them directly as a volunteers. Give them some best of the locally designed resources, maybe PPT or storytelling, or maybe small video bites of your SAM children, their parents, Anganwadi workers, CNMs, so energize them, number one. Second, also give them some basic know-how on this kind of project. Malnutrition is a relatively scientific subject. So one must know that when they goes to Anganwadi Center, what are the 6 packages being provided? What is the supplementary nutrition? What is the calorific value coming in that? With how many grams of food? what is protein energy malnutrition, what is SAM, MAM, those basic terminology, because they are all learned people. When they
Right.
go as a they accept these things very, very fast. So if you build up a small, what you call the capsule for them, not 100%, some basic fundamentals, and then if you take them to field, the interaction of this employee engagement along with your local government counterpart, Anganwadi workers, CNM, parents, goes very high. Second, in malnutrition, where they can create a big dent. If they are well versed with the program, they can go and do door-to-door counseling. They
Right.
can energize the community, sensitize the community to avail these services, and sensitize them towards growth monitoring, importance of growth monitoring, importance of complete immunizations, importance of referral services, importance of deworming, and importance of giving supplementary nutrition, what is protein and malnutrition, all those things. If you provide your employees a small capsule kind of training, maybe 1 hour on Zoom or somewhere, or some reading materials, and once they're read and you take them to the field, they can contribute at least, as a first timer without knowing anything about malnutrition, going down to a Anganwadi center or village, by knowing everything, impact is really pretty high. And that's where you can create a big dent to the community. And people also feel that people who are coming are learned. Second, when somebody learn and go, they have the agility to give back to the society. If they have not earned, it's very difficult for them to give back time, because malnutrition is always an intangible sector. To make it tangible, make it top of the priority of the parents, those who are going must be well versed with the subject matter, not deeper as a scientific tool, but at least bare minimum fundamentals unka strong ho, acha ho, then let them go. It hardly takes 1 or 2 hours of time per employees.
Right. Absolutely, sir. I think that's a very important piece of advice for anybody who's designing such programs, because once you do that, the employees are, even self-aware about their own nutrition.
Yeah. One more addition. If you go to Government of India's WC Department Poshan Abhiyan, this material are plentifully available online. You need not to reinvent the wheel. You just download, print, share with them, or save, create a common folder, share with them. One need not to, kahan se laye, kya laye, one should not think. I thought this also need to clarify to all of them. Go down and see this WCD department, Poshan Abhiyan. Enough materials are available there.
Definitely, sir. I think.
Yeah, and that too in most of the languages.
Right. Yeah, sir, you're absolutely right. Our government already has so much infrastructure in place. So rather than reinventing the wheel and, coming up with new resources, it's great to mobilize what is already available and is so enriching. So thank you, sir. And this brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful interview. I think it's been so heartwarming and inspiring to hear about the work that you're doing. And I must say once again that this community that you are building, this larger ACC family, is really something that is going to help us accomplish the goals of the Poshan Abhiyan and hopefully, improve malnutrition and undernutrition and evils such as these in a country like India.
And then last but not least, Yamini, I must appeal to all those who are listening or will be listening in near future. If you are serious into malnutrition, please join Impact for Nutrition. This is an awesome platform. You need not to pay anything. Everything is there. You can easily get. It's like free of cost. We are all dumping all our learnings, lessons there, so that the mistakes which we are doing, you will not do. The good thing that you have done, you can easily copy with pride and do best of the thing for our motherland, our India as a country. Thank you, Aminiji. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, sir.